the Texas Chainsaw Massacre TV show has now got a trailer. It dropped 2-3 hours ago. It's from Netflix. I haven't seen it. I just saw it while I was setting up the show, actually, and decided to chuck it in. I've pulled up the trailer. I thought we could all watch it and give our reactions of what we think. All right.
Hey, Ali, if you ever want to say anything, just cut me off, by the way. Like,
oh, no. You're all good.
All right, here we go. That's it.
In 2022, the face of madness returns.
I miss that guy from the 90s that did exactly that.
Whoa.
Into a Netflix near you.
Whoa. Betcha.
Why would you go under
I knew it! Knew it! Oh, that looks sick. Oh, cool. So that was the trailer. What did you guys think? I've got a few things to say because I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, but what have you guys got to say?
I need to bail for it a little bit. So let us know what you think. I have basically no context in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I wasn't allowed to watch anything gory or anything like that. So, like, even just then, you're like, yo, really small clips is like, that's enticing. Like, I don't have much context for that. So,
that's cool, man.
Elaborate on that shit, and I'll be back in a sec.
No worries. What are your thoughts, Alan?
I'm interested. I'm interested where it could go and where I'd like it to go. Like, I think it'll be cool to see it have, like, because all the movies have, like, the one core group, and it's the whole slasher thing of it's that one survivor and will they survive? I reckon it would be absolutely wicked to see groups of survivors and just see people getting slaughtered, and eventually they cotton on and you get that survivor group. I'd like to see, and see it set up.
I mean, just like, I'll bring the trailer back up quickly just so I can get to like points that I noticed. First of all, I really like that chainsaw bit with him chasing her through the floor kind of thing. But what I really liked was right at the end here, when he's holding up the mask, you can see that he's old, you can see that his hair's grown long, and you can see that he's like holding the mask up to the light. So what I'm guessing is that they're trying to say it's the same dude from the original movie. And I'm guessing that this is like obviously 30 years, 40 years later, and that's him like kind of maybe rediscovering his mask and putting it on or something like that. So, I mean, the first Texas Chainsaw, this is going to sound weird because, like, you know, everyone would be like, that's the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie you saw. But the first one I saw was the remake at the cinemas with Jessica Biel in it. And I really liked it. And I haven't watched any of the originals just because I don't know if they've aged well. As we said with Halloween, man, I get why it's popular. I get why people love the original, but it's too old now. And I just feel like it, I just feel like it's kind of got to stay in the 70s, that movie, and we got to advance because as Halloween in the 70s, as I said, it was just it's so hard to watch now because the acting is kind of poor. It's kind of cheaply done. It's a very 70s movie. So, I mean, I haven't watched the older one, so I don't have much context of that. I just know that I like the remake, and I hope that if they're going for that 70s, like they've obviously got the modern look to it now. So I'm just hoping that it kind of stays true to what people loved about the 70s one, but brings it up to a current sort of, you know, state that it should be in, I guess, you know. Have you seen any of the previous, Alan?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I know I've definitely seen up to the Jessica Biel remake. First one is a classic for me. The second one, I didn't actually see it when it was in its time, and there was a whole bunch of controversy. And I think it was actually banned here for a long time, which was and then there was the Leatherface in it. It went on that same thing. A lot of things like Halloween did, where they just kept going, and it didn't. Like, it was just average. And they went on to I think Renee Zellweger was in the 4th installment, and it wasn't what it was. Then you have the remakes.
Renee Zellweger, the chick from fucking Bridget Jones' Diary, she was in a horror movie.
Yeah, I think it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The New Generation or The Next Generation or something. This is casting my mind back about 20 years. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was, and it's one of those movies that I've repressed until this point. So it's going to be interesting to see where they pick this up from as well. If they go back to continuing it from the first 2 or 3 movies, or if
that's what I'm guessing from this trailer, that it is the same guy from the originals. Like, it's meant to be the same killer. And I'm guessing that yeah, they're going to bring it up to now, and that's kind of cool, man. Like
yeah.
I'm sort of getting into horror movies more lately, which is going to come into one of our stories a little bit later on Scream, because when me and Alan recently talked about it, we're both a bit cold on it, and I've kind of changed a little bit on that. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I mean, I know, Cody, you haven't watched any of the previous Texas Chainsaw Massacres and stuff like that, because I know you're not a huge horror fan. But yeah, so I know I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's good. And I'm kind of happy it's a TV show, because kind of makes it more accessible for me to go sit down and watch and dedicate some time to, rather than going, I have to go to the movies and buy a ticket to a movie that I'm not necessarily that super excited for, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm happy it's a TV show.
So I was gone for a little bit just before, but so it's going to be a TV show. Is it going to be like a Netflix special type thing? Yeah. So I imagine it will be kind of be in the same jest of like the Scream remake that Netflix did.
That's what I'm hoping it's not, though, because that's terrible. It was terrible. I want it to be gritty. I want it to have not a lot of like character subplots going on. I want it to be what the remake was, which was a bunch of people are on a way through of a crappy town. The car breaks down. There's something weird going on in the town with the police and everything. And they end up at this weird house where there's this creepy family, kind of like what Resident Evil 7 had with it. And, they're stuck in this place, and the whole story should be them about trying to get out of this place. And every episode should kind of lead to them getting out, but also losing people along the way. That's what I'm hoping.
It's interesting you say that, because like, you would almost hope that they would go for that. Like, again, we're just 3 people that watch shit. But if a lot of other people have had the same opinion, you could almost hope that they take that direction based on the feedback they've got from the Scream remake. You know what I mean?
Well, the Scream remake is loved. And actually, that's something we could have talked about as a news topic, but I didn't remember. They have just approved it for season 3.
It's not a bad remake, like, again, you guys are way more into pop culture stuff. Like, I'm on this podcast for music and stuff like that. But the few things that I did see of the Scream remake, I guess I didn't have much context because I hadn't really watched the original Scream movies.
I just didn't like the Ghostface change up, man. That's it.
The mask.
I remember you talking about the mask and being like, it's not the same thing. Like,
as I said, I had a good joke with Alan the other time when we were talking about it, which was I put the Scream mask on and I said, even I fucking got the Scream mask. It's not hard to get a Ghostface mask, man. I've got it hanging right there on the cupboard.
There's certainly merit to suggest that if you're going to try and reproduce something that is as critically acclaimed as it is, that you probably need to try and stay true to what it is. You know what I mean? If you try and change it up too much, you will just turn a bunch of people off.
They could have titled that College Killer, because that's what it was. It wasn't a Scream movie without the Ghostface signature mask.
A Scream spin-off or something like that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Or a homage too. It's kind of like what I touched on with the Chucky thing last episode. The whole he's not voodoo anymore, he's an AI thing when it was a remake movie. It's the whole kind of that would work really bloody well as a homage, but as an actual product, like this is a remake of it. No,
no, you got to have Ghostface, otherwise it's not. It's like if you created Halloween and took Michael Myers away as the killer and put another person in a different mask, it's not Halloween then. You know what I mean? Like the brand is the costume, the mask, everything that goes along with it. And you take one element of that away and it doesn't stay true to the brand anymore. And that's just what I feel about it.
All they would need to do is title it Halloween 2021. And it's a completely different thing with like different artists and shit. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
they did.
It's annoying how companies can do that and like try and relate something that has so much historical value with the community base.
Well, I know you don't know much about the Halloween history, but Halloween 3, they tried to go in a different direction. There was no Michael Myers. It was called Halloween 3.
Yeah.
And it bombed because it was completely nothing to do with Michael Myers. It was not about killings. It was about getting controlled by Halloween masks that kids wear and this dude trying to kill all the kids off, and it bombed. And that's what I mean is if you're going to do a Halloween movie, a Scream movie, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, you make sure that the main support structure, which is the killer in that mask, is there. And that's all you need to do to make it really cool, you know. But I'm looking forward to it. I know you are as well, Alan.
Real quick, I know it's a completely different tangent, but it literally reminds me of how the 007 GoldenEye remake came out for Xbox 360, and it was like nothing like the original Nintendo 64 fucking GoldenEye game. And it was almost like it was cool to receive this thing from a company, but it was like, you know, like the underground actual 007 GoldenEye remake that they were going to put out on Xbox Arcade that never actually came out. You can play that on PC now, and a bunch of people would much rather prefer to play that than the fucking Daniel Craig 007 GoldenEye remake on 360 or whatever.
Kind of goes the same for the GTA trilogy. Some people would rather play the modded versions now than play the remake. But the problem is Rockstar put a good halt to that for a while with the modding, so I guess we'll see what happens with that. But we'll move on to
another conversation entirely. What's up next?
We'll